Terrible, terrible decision from the Supreme Court just a couple of hours ago. The Supreme Court has ruled in the case of McCutcheon versus the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, and they have decided to strike down total overall limits on campaign contributions. This is terrible, and I will tell you why. According to Reuters and the Associated Press, the court left in place a cap on donations to a single candidate by people, but not overall. So what this means, this is a formal establishment of plutocratic rights. This is exactly what we've been talking about for years on this program. The Supreme Court holds that the purported right of the few hundred people, the super rich, who would contribute millions of dollars to campaigns outweighs the national interest in political equality and a government that is not corrupt, that is not disproportionately influenced by very few rich people. In practical terms, this decision would allow one individual to donate $2 million, $4 million, $6 million, $20 million to be spent by candidates, political parties, and political committees in one election. Even after Citizens United was an absolute disaster. Even after that, even knowing that the Supreme Court is capable of that level of disaster, this is still absolutely stunning. It is going to go down as one of the worst decisions in history when it comes to American jurisprudence. The effect that this is going to have on the electoral system in this country, which is already laughably subject to the whims of the richest Americans and huge corporations. This is just going to be a disaster. Up until today, individuals could not contribute more than $123,000 total in each 2-year election cycle to political candidates and parties. Citizens United allowed big businesses to spend as much as they want, especially with these undisclosed contributions that are filed through groups like Karl Rove's Crossroads GPS, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, etc. But Citizens United money can only go to outside groups. This is now lifting the cap on donations directly to candidates and campaign committees. And remember, the limit was already $123,000. So this is not an increase from $10,000 to whatever you want. It's an increase from $123,000 to whatever you want, meaning that it only affects those who were already contributing $123,000 per election, but want to do more. This is directly playing into the hands of the richest of the rich.
Right. So, it was already the case that the majority of the time the candidate who raised the most money would win.
Right.
So you're not really changing the game in that respect. But now what you are doing is giving more buying power to those ultra rich people.
Exactly right. So if it was 84% of the time that the candidate with more money wins, this is going to skew those numbers even further. It might sound like freedom. I know I'll get a few emails from right wingers and they'll say, this is freedom, David. And I'll say, yes, you and I now have the right to spend as much as we want to, but we can't compete with people like Charles and David Koch, for example. The practical difference is for most Americans is nothing. We already could spend up to $123,000, right? Most people don't do that each election. Most Americans, the overwhelming majority of Americans, don't spend anywhere near the $123,000. For them, this decision means nothing. This decision really just helps the richest of the rich. This is not a democracy. This is a plutocracy, and this is a heinously disgusting decision by the Supreme Court in a 5-4 ruling.